And the band has left the building.
Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Good morning, Debo.
Good morning, sir.
Jermaine.
Good morning there, sir.
What's happening?
Well, today is Wednesday, August 20th.
Oh, yeah. Oh, happy anniversary, Keith.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's where I was going.
Yeah.
Hold on, man. I gotta play my
All
song
right.
I had lined up for you
All
guys.
right. You wrote a song about it?
Well, you want to hear it? Here we go.
What the hell was that?
I don't know.
See, it's a happy anniversary. From behind.
You
Can't love her from the front. I just love you from behind.
Pardon me?
So anyway, this would be, I'm thinking, 7 years?
Wow, man, that's
How many years?
I think 7.
You don't know for certain?
I don't know for certain.
Wow.
When did I get here? 18? I think I got here.
Oh, you mean your
18.
radio anniversary?
Yeah.
I
My
thought
wedding
you-
anniversary is April 8th.
I was going to say, man.
No, this is my broadcast anniversary here
though,
at
you,
W.
You did another station prior to being here, though.
I sure did.
So how much time in
Hey, man,
in
that ain't the
total?
right song for this, man.
It's his anniversary.
No. This is
I know. I'm just playing the music. I ain't gonna play the words, brother.
this instrumental.
Yeah,
We can make up our own words then.
Yeah, I
What
mean,
a song about it. You want to hit? Here it go.
Yeah.
Today
you know-
is your anniversary.
The day
Been-
your
Been live for
career
16
started.
years.
No, I always thanked Homer, on my wedding anniversary. We would do the Flintstones happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy, 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 happy anniversary,
That's
happy,
enough of
happy,
that
happy, happy,
That's
happy
enough, my
anniversary,
goodness.
happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary,
Happy anniversary.
Well, the fact that I've been able to survive 7 years.
Are you saying working alongside Michelle?
No. Michelle having to work alongside me. That's been the at Mr. Jones's life celebration. Michelle prefaced before she had to read all 76 proclamations. It was a lot, man.
And
It
she
was
didn't
a
do 'em
whole heap
all.
of. I'm glad she did. Some people don't know. They pretty much all say the same thing, right?
Right.
But it was early on. I used to joke. I tell this. I don't know if you all. I love movies. I love movies. And Johnny Brasco with Johnny Depp and Al Pacino is this great movie about the mafia. Well, they had a term in that, like when you get sent for.
That ain't good.
Yeah, when you get sent for, normally
you're sent for
you
to
ain't
get
coming
killed.
back.
Yeah.
Right.
So whenever he got sent for, he take out his wallet, he take off his ring,
Yeah.
he leave his watch, leave all his money because he wasn't coming back. He wasn't coming back. And so when I first started, I was regularly sent for to go to 2nd Street.
Regularly?
He was summoned.
Dude, it was on a regular, man. It would be, I'd get a phone call. Someone was talking about Mama Rose, and I told the Mama Rose story. Debo was part of this, but it was me and Michelle, and I think Rick was the engineer, and Debo called in because we got to talking about. They'd always kid Michelle. Michelle would do a little singing, and so they had her in these little white church shoes, right? And so that's what everybody was talking about, and then that morphed into church candy. Old ladies with church candy
In their purse.
Yeah, in their purse. That old church candy, that old stale church
Peppermints.
candy that you had when you was a kid, Mama.
Yeah.
And so we're having a great time. Somehow Mama Rose got through.
Uh-oh.
Mama Rose called in. She said, if y'all keep on talking about that church candy and I'll never listen to WNOV again. She said that on the air. Got a call from 2nd Street. Okay. Yeah, I called right away from 2nd Street. Keith, we'll need to see you after the program.
Leave your wallet.
Leave your wallet. Leave your ring. So and it's amazing when I think about, like I told people, the number of times that I've I actually saw Mr. Jones in person is probably about 5 or 6 times. I mean, I'd seen him, but the first recollection was 30 years ago when we went to the Million Man March and we were all on the same plane that went out. Until I got on that plane, I do not know, but anyway, we go to the Million Man March, and I saw him then, and then when he extended the invitation for me to come and join the WNOV family. We had a couple of conversations in person down the 2nd Street. And he had said to me, and I told this a little bit at his celebration, he had said to me, well, first he asked, what was the program going to be about? And at that point, I had no clue. I don't know. And then he said, well, Michelle is covering politics, so you don't have to do politics. I said, oh, okay, that's a relief. And then we began to have this conversation where he quoted Aristotle and talked about Aristotle has something called the golden mean, which is balance, that there has to be balance. There's balance in the universe. When we throw the balance off, things get out of kilter. So the importance of balance and bringing balance to our conversation into this program. And so if it seemed like I would sometimes take an opposite position, it was only because we wanted to have a level of balance when it came to the conversations that we had, right? And that's hard to pull off by any stretch of the imagination, just because of the demographics of the people who listen to the program, right? It's like, can I go out on the limb, and I'll put the number out there just in case somebody disagrees with me, but the majority of people who listen to us probably didn't vote for Donald Trump. Am I on a limb on that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means that the majority of people, when they call in, will have an opinion based on whether or not they voted for Donald Trump. The overwhelming number of people who listen to me, listen to Michelle, probably even listen to Will, they didn't support Donald Trump. I'd use that as an example. Or I can also go out on a limb on this one. The overwhelming majority of people in our demographic that listen to WNOV are probably descendants of enslaved Africans. Yeah, I'm pretty safe on that.
Yeah.
Now we get into age differences, we get into generational differences, we get into educational kind of differences. And so now how do we then balance that? The other thing is, even though I am an ordained Baptist minister, I remember saying that to him, and Mr. Jones said, I don't care. So like Keon, this is my program. So I don't proselytize. That's not my and because I just have an enormous respect, and I hold this personal belief that there are many paths to God. There's not just one path to God. And though we, depending on what faith tradition you might practice, you might not practice anyone at all. My estimation of God is that God is so much bigger than existence. And that's a hard one sometimes for us to wrap our hands around, because we tend to think from our perspective. And what other perspective could you think from, right? We think from our perspective. We think from our lived experience. We think from how we view and how we see the world. But one, there's more than me in the world. Two, the world is a pretty big place. And three, existence is so much bigger than even the world. When they found pieces of this meteorite that got through the atmosphere, that had crashed, and I don't know if you all know this, but every day we have meteorites coming in, hitting the planet, all these breaking off, they're breaking off. And they found a piece of this meteorite that was 4.6. 4.6. I think they said billion years old, which existence is so vast. So that's why I don't proselytize. I don't subscribe to there's only one right way to worship the creator. Religion is culturally and environmentally derived. What does that mean? That based on where you live, it could be your climate, it can be the people, it could be the circumstances that you find yourselves in, that will shape how we practice our religion. So I avoid that. There are some positions that I have personally that I won't share, only because they are politically charged, and because of Mr. Jones's mandate to me, I need to be balanced. That means that, and every now and then, you know how I feel on an issue. But there are a couple of particular issues that I have some very strong feelings on, but I won't. I'll try to weigh in. If I weigh in, I try to be as fair as I can be. Not that I can always be fair. So, thank you again for Mr. Jones and Sandra Robinson when she was here, and certainly now the new management team, Mary Ellen, just for letting me hang around. I appreciate that. It's a lot of fun. Somebody asked me, how long are you going to do the program? I said, man, as long as I'm having fun, I'm going to continue to do the program.
And that's what I like, man. I mean, between you, Shell, and Will, and even Quay Cool, and all the shows on here, money talks and things like that. The one thing about you guys that I love, not only do you got the serious side to the conversation, but you guys have fun too. Just like how you were saying, like that whole balance it out. It ain't so serious that it's just, man, you can't crack a smile without somebody getting offended. And just having on both sides of the spectrum is a great show, man.
And with the exception of me, what you have pointed out is just how very bright those folks are.
Yeah.
I mean, I would put, again, the exception being,
man, stop, man.
I would put up just the intellectual, have the incredible insight that our on-air personalities have, and with, I know there's another place that calls themselves the truth, but in slang, the truth means legit.
Yeah, it means legit.
It means legit.
Yeah,
and I just somebody wrote an article with the departure of one of our former colleagues, which I was never here when he was here. And he said there will never be another basically cognitive sentence on WNOV because that person left. And I thought, wow, if nothing else, the complaint when I first got here was my sentences and the words that I use. That's where Wednesday's Word came from.
Oh, wow.
That I would drop a word. What that word mean? What that word be? And something I had to remind when I people don't, man, this is so crazy. I hate to use the number, but I have been licensed and ordained, licensed to preach since I was 18 years old. Been 50 years. And I can remember when I first started, because I had some education. So I'd be coming in dropping Shakespeare. I'd be dropping Plato. I drop Aristotle. And people looking at me going like, what are you talking about? I was going like, oh, well, I went to college. So to learn how to be able to talk, have a conversation where you're talking about something really meaningful, but you do it in such a way that people can really grasp what it is that you're talking about. I say it all the time. Our listeners are so smart. They have such great insight. and those they make the program go. If it wasn't for the listeners and the callers, this would be an even worse program than it is. So thank you all for bailing me out. I appreciate that. We're going. So phone lines open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. I don't know if it was last year before last. George called in, and George said, "Man, when you first started," and I don't want to, because I know he's listening. I want to make sure, but what George was saying that we had to kind of grow on each other.
Well, one thing I'm gonna say, I'm very, very aware of the words I use because I want to make sure that I use the words correctly because I know our brother Christopher is listening and he is going to tell you if you using it wrong. And I respect that. For me to be like, hey,
in
you
full
using it wrong.
transparency, I reached out to Christopher early on asking him would he want to come on Wednesdays to talk about Wednesday's word.
Now, that'll be dope, man, because that cat got a lot of information in him, man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he'd be funny sometimes, but, he got a lot of information in
All
him.
right, caller.
Oh, caller, here we go.
Welcome to the program.
Oh, good morning.
Oh, that's Christopher.
Assalamu
That's
alaikum.
Christopher right there.
Speak of the angel.
That's Christopher right there. What's going on,
Oh,
Doc?
wow. I didn't even know. But I wasn't listening to that part. This is why I called. Because Brother Debo asked me what the office of Malele Cards do. They called over to that place and spoke to one of those people, and she was the person that I think she was the secretary. I'm not sure. I don't think Malele was the one that actually called, but they got an extension. The thing is this: the time is of the essence for me, and I'm trying to get the money together to pay these people. It's like I'm repaying for my car that I already had paid for. And I also wanted to add this is just my own. I don't know. I'm thinking like this. That in this city, and I know that I've been calling in to various talk shows speaking about the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I know that maybe not. I'm sure that not everyone likes to hear about the teachings for whatever reason. And it's not that we or I am trying to impose anything upon anyone because there's no compulsion. We don't work like that. It's just to provide a different viewpoint about something that was kept away from our people. When I was a child in the second grade, I saw, I think it's called a mural or something like that. And there were pictures of all various types of black leaders, Harriet Tubman, Dr. Martin Luther King, and many others. And then my eyes focused on the man with the Fez hat. And I would ask the question to my second grade teacher, Mrs. Davis, who is that? She couldn't speak to it. She couldn't tell me. She didn't even say his name. I was just like, I wonder, why is it that they talking about all these other people, but they never mention who this is? And then when I got to college, or before I got to college, I heard about the autobiography of Malcolm X. And I also saw that movie that Spike Lee made or whatever. But I was not exposed to anything other than this stuff about Jesus and Christianity until I got to high school. And before that though, there was a Rookin family in our neighborhood who I was really cool with. He was an older brother, like a bigger brother. I was a little guy catching bugs, but he would always come past my house and he would talk about Allah, and I would say, "No, Jesus is God. What are you talking about?" And I'm like, he's like, "Well, you're a little bitty dude, so you are speaking what these people are telling you." I never thought that I would become a member of the Nation of Islam. I had no idea about the Nation of Islam. But all in all, I'm saying is this, is that because some people may be offended for me expressing my favor for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Nation of Islam, I make no apologies for that because it's what saved my life. And as for me, if these things were exposed to our people on a more expansive level, then we would not see all of the savagery that we see in our communities. I think this is my personal belief. And I think that because, and here's something to go tie back to my car. There was an incident where a street sweeper came and sat in front of our house for like 40 minutes running her street sweeper machine. And she had on earmuffs or something that to like dampen the sound or something. So we were sitting there watching the television and we couldn't hear the TV. So I went outside to see like, why is the street sweeper just posted here in front of the house? And she was on her phone doing something, laughing and talking. And I asked her myself, you know, like, why are you like idling here and your machine is very loud? This lady called the police, claimed that she was threatened. She said all kind of stuff. I took pictures and video of everything to prove it. But I told her that, you know, and I told the cop, I said, you know, well, she's called you all over here to try to get me some type of disorderly conduct ticket when I didn't do anything to her. I just asked her to could she move or turn the thing down? So I said, well, I'll call her supervisor. And this lady works for the DPW. This is what I think triggered them bothering me about my car, because my car had been sitting in the same place for a long time. I mean, it's nobody's fault but my own that I wasn't on top of getting my car registered again. I was looking to make money to fix my car so that I could use it again. So I think all in all, here's another thing to it. Oh. Every time they would put a ticket on my car, I would fight the ticket and go see the judge. Those people don't like when you go see the judge and they give you tickets. They want you to pay the ticket and keep it moving. And I'm like, no, I need to understand why you gave me a citation and I'm buying parking permits and I'm still getting citations. So, and then we have people calling the parking people on us, fighting over parking spots. So there's a whole lot of stuff that has been going on. And I'm still trying to get my car. So I just was showing gratitude for them at least making a phone call. My car is still in those people's possession, and it should never have been. I want my car back, and I'm straight up with mine. I hate you. I don't like none of you. And there ain't no way that that's going to change, because all I know is this, that there are forces in this world, in this city, state, or whatever, who seek to keep Black people in a state of perpetual impoverishment. The bus system is garbage. It's not safe. It doesn't take Black people anywhere but in a circle around the ghetto. So that's why nobody's riding it. And nobody wants to get mugged, shot, or robbed on the bus. So this is why all of this stuff is taking place. All right. Thanks for listening.
Well, they still ain't got that cat back his car.
As I take my clothes.
You got the whole sermon?
Yes.
And another thing, while I've got
as
you.
I wrap it up, as I go to my seat.
There used to be a guy that used to call the radio station all the time. I forget his name. He's a retired bus driver. I think he passed so many years ago. But he used to call them sleeping tickets. He said it's the only town that give out sleeping tickets. They sneaking around your house, writing tickets on your car while you sleep.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So he's been trying to get his car back for a minute. All
right.
He have. I wonder, is it incurring charges as it sits?
Yeah. Don't they charge you for the day, right?
I'm not certain. I mean, typically, I've never had them have one of mine, so I don't know.
They got one of mine.
Yeah, I got mine back right away, though.
And I let them keep it.
Really?
Oh, man, I was so tired of that Fiat. Just keep it, man.
Oh, a Fiat. Yeah, I can see you letting them keep it.
Yeah.
Fiat.
Yeah. So
he had a Pacer. That's what it was.
No,
it was a Fiat, dude. It was a Fiat.
I had a Pinto.
Oh, I had one of those too.
Which would put you in the mind of a Pacer or a Hornet, you know. Yeah.
Well, the Pacer was just all glass.
Yeah,
it was just
the
glass.
ugliest car ever made.
You think it's the ugliest?
Yes.
No, man. Let me tell you what I did to that car, man. I had basket rim spokes on there.
Oh, you was country.
No. I was
put some
doing the best
spokes
I
on it.
could.
That's
I
what's
had
up.
some basket rim spokes on there, and I had this was before they built the kicker box. I was ahead of my time.
Oh, so
I
you
took-
built your own.
I took one of the speakers out the house.
Yeah,
with the
yeah, yeah.
15
Took
in
one
it.
of the big, yeah.
I put him in the
Yep,
back.
wired it
And
to
he had
it,
all
yeah.
that laid open space back there,
Yeah.
man. I was getting it. You couldn't
Yeah.
tell me nothing.
What do you call those boom cars, right?
Yeah.
God, that brought back memories, man.
Mm-hmm.
That
Man.
stereo speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? One of the things that I look for, just recently got a new vehicle, is the sound system.
Oh, yeah.
The sound system got to be tight. I can do some other things or do
Yeah.
without some things, but that sound system, man,
you
I
tickled
want to
me
know.
yesterday
Dolby.
when you said why the sound system always sound better than somebody else's car than it do yours.
Was that like you go by somebody else's crib? They got a studio stereo. You go, "Damn, that
Depends on
sound
who house
good."
you go by.
Surround sound. And
'Cause,
everything.
you can go
Yeah.
by Jermaine's house and be like, man, this all you got, man.
No, do you come on my house? I got studio speakers everywhere. So I got
that's right,
surround
'cause you're-
sound. And,
Because you're a bachelor.
yeah. ESPN and studio speakers.
Espen. You're listening to Community Voice. Callers, thank you. I want you to be patient. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
Caller, thank you for your patience. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. I want to say thank you for, being a commentator. But you know what? I think you're too nice. And I think sometimes you need to hurt black people's feelings. Because what we don't want you to do is get angry and then get drunk and say it's on the liquor. Just go. Sometimes black people's feelings need to be hurt. Prime example, when you look at our communities, you know why it's not safe? Because some of these parents don't want to raise them little nigger babies they got. And I'm going to say it right from my heart, okay? Some of them choose to have their kids act like they got ADHD so they can be considered an adult till they're 25 so they can get a crazy check. Some of them are not giving them the proper parenting. Some of them don't clean up around their house. Some of them sit there and be a drunk and an alcoholic, and the daddy is beating on their kids, beating on their mama. So how you expect for these kids to act when they got all that chaos? They already effed up in the head. Some of them don't have the right training. Some of them want to say, well, I'm going to let God have. First of all, God don't run and handle your house. You do. All right? And then people say, well, the community. First of all, it's the community responsibility, and there's no benefit to be trying to do something that came out of somebody else's nuts and something that grew in somebody else's ovaries. That's what we have Plan Bs for, and they on sale for $49.99.
Brother Al,
So
let me ask you a question.
Go for
What
it.
you just described, what would you say is the percentage of our population in the city that you just described?
You know what? I'm going to say I don't know the percentage, but if it's more than one, it's too much. How about that?
Wow.
We don't have no money for the kids to go to college, but we got money to put on their books.
Hey, Al, I hear your voice. While you out here, did you tell people you ran up on me?
You know what? I forgot to tell.
Before he signed off, I was going to ask him to tell him don't be rolling up on my coworkers.
Yeah, she said, man, you straight up rolled up on her, man.
Well, I had to catch her off guard. It was always a play. I rolled up on her and I said, I got something I got to tell you. She had that look like, what? You gonna tell me? Like she was ready to go, but I had to mess with her.
No, but I'm saying that okay, let me ask you this question then. When you were coming along, did you see some of the things that you described this morning?
I have seen some of it, and when I seen it, I said, I don't ever want to be there. So
what I'm saying is that has been consistent, and so maybe, and I know when I start saying, we should look at systemic reasons for why things have, people say I'm making excuses. I'm not. I'm just saying that there's some causal things there. If I step back, not from a position of moral judgment, just stepping back, saying it's part of our human condition here, certainly being descendants of enslaved Africans, it's our, because like I said the other day, it's the luck of the draw who your parents are, what neighborhood, what zip code you don't get to apply and then say, here's where I'm going to go. You just born, and your mama's your mama and your daddy's your daddy.
And you know what? And guess what? And that mama and daddy ain't stupid. They ain't dumb. They know better. They know right from wrong. And they still did it anyway. But they'll turn around and ask them same children to help them out. That's why some of these kids are so effed up in the head. And if you are a parent and you're carrying a half pint, working on a disability test, that ain't God's problem. That's your problem. And when your kids come out, you're the blame. All right. And I hope you hear it. You're the blame. Because if you knew you were going to lay on your back with your breasts running away from each other, laying in a bed with some big black nigga.
Okay, Al, we got it. Hey, Jermaine, you paying attention? No, your point. Point well made, man. Appreciate you.
With your breasts running away from you.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that graphic. Caller, welcome to the program.
That Al can come up with it, man.
Oh, that is a little visual. Isn't it? Caller, welcome to the program.
Well, let me take it down a notch.
All right. You had to follow that call. What's happening?
Well, hey, I want you to give me your take on what I like to call two Wednesdays words from the 1700s.
Okay.
Permission slip.
All right. You want?
What
You
is
want my? I know what you're alluding to. That down in Texas, when the Dems left the state, they came back. They're going to call the session. But in order for them, I think, to leave either the chamber or their home, they need to have a permission slip signed so someone can follow them. Right?
Just like slaves.
Oh man, pass through.
Just like slaves, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and all of these black Republicans better look at this for what it is, okay? Because it won't be long, 4, 5, 6 years down the road, you're gonna hear some Republicans saying we need to get back to that.
Well, you know what? Being
It's crazy.
Being a political
it's
science major,
2025.
the one thing they always talk about is power. Power. It comes down. Politics, part of politics is power. I was saying it yesterday in my conversation with Dr. Ali. In our relationships, we want power. So we cannot underestimate what people will do to get power and to maintain power. And if it's going against a norm, but you got these
airheads, black people. I call them airheads because they ain't got nothing in their heads, and they just ignoring all this and everything that this idiot is doing in the White House. It's like I told Michelle yesterday. You should have seen Zelensky when he's sitting there talking about the future of his country with this fool, and out of nowhere, the fool goes, "I'm going to stop mail-in ballots." And if you had looked at Zelensky's movement of his arms and legs, he looked like he wanted to get up and just strangle that fool right then and there. I mean, he had to contain himself.
Well, here's what's in, and thank you for that. I'm going to respond. First of all, he was voting absentee. He did mail-in ballots. Okay, number one. So let's do that. Number two, it was a distraction because if you've been listening and paying attention, remember, first of all, he's trying to get the Nobel Peace Prize because Obama got it, right?
No, he's not going to get it. You know why? Because he don't know what he's doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was a distraction
I'm trying to set
because
up.
he don't have no answers as far as ending that Ukraine war.
Right.
He has
which
no
gets
answers.
us to that, right? So I don't know if people talked about, I don't know if you remember, they said it was going to be a trilateral, which means that it was going to be him, Zelensky, and Putin. He says now he's not going to participate.
Yeah, Putin look, this is a done deal between him and Putin.
Right.
He's just dragging this out,
right?
To try to make it look like he's doing something. All he's doing is dragging it out, but in the end, Putin's going to take over Ukraine, and Trump better not say nothing about it. That's where this is headed.
Well, but if part of this whole NATO piece, even though Ukraine won't, Russia doesn't want Ukraine to join NATO because then that will help buffer, because I think is it Article 5, that mutual defense compact that they have with NATO, which says that if a NATO country is attacked, all NATO is responsible.
I understand that.
No, what I'm saying is, so
does Putin give a damn about that?
Yeah, he's concerned about them going into NATO because at this point, the EU has been neutralized. America has been providing weapons. Now, you heard something where NATO is saying they'll possibly put troops on the ground. The other thing, Trump said that he will not put U.S. troops on the ground because I'd rather send them to U.S. cities, to deal with crime.
He's like the abuser, right? I'll abuse my people at home, but I won't do nothing to the enemy, which is Russia, right?
Exactly. And I'm still trying to figure out what Putin has over him that, he defers so much to him. Obama wouldn't even talk to Putin.
Golden showers.
You say
golden showers.
The P-tape?
The P-tape.
Yeah.
That's what he got. Because he did all that tough talk. Where are the rigid sanctions that he blowed up for the media before he met with him? It's going to be rigid sanctions. I'm going to really come down on it. He come out sounding like a little puppy dog. Well, we got to do more talking, or they can fight until they kill each other. I don't know. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's out of his element. He's not a statesman. Now, if this was about money, he'd probably have it done. Like he did that cryptocurrency in one day. He made $1 billion. But this ain't about money. This is about statesmanship. And he don't have a clue.
With Russia, in spite of the sanctions, even them talking about where they're going to have the summit many countries in the world, they're part of was that International Criminal Court, and there is a warrant out for Putin's arrest. So there's places he cannot go
Right.
just because
He's a convicted felon.
Right, that he's considered a war criminal. And so you get that. I mean, for dude to get up and I'm gonna agree with you, man. There has to be these folks who are airheads to go like, I know what he's telling you, but I know what we're seeing.
The airhead.
Right.
And Meech is the biggest airhead I know.
Yeah, I mean, and so the idea that you're the smartest guy in the world and you can put things together. Netflix is doing a thing on America's team, on the Dallas Cowboys, which is not America's team, and talking about that 90s group and when Jerry Jones, what was it? What is this?
Jimmy Jones.
Jimmy John. No. Jerry Jones owns the Cowboys.
Right.
And Jimmy Johnson was his first coach when he came in.
And won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, but here's the deal. And they talk about, because, he got fired after he won that second Super Bowl. Part of it was that Jones thought he knew more about the actual mechanics and how to play football than he did. But he owned the team. And because he owned the team, he interjected himself into areas where he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know what he was talking about, right?
Mm-hmm. Just like Trump.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. So when you go in and look, the people who work with him know that he's lying. Yep. They know that he's lying. They know the truth. But where did I start this off with? Power. Because power is so intoxicating, because power is so attractive, people will literally sell their souls for power.
Right.
So like tell people don't.
But Trump don't have no soul to sell. He's soulless.
Which makes it even more problematic.
Yeah.
Because, at least, those of us who say we have a soul, our soul might act as guardrails in terms of certain behavior. But he don't. All right.
Yeah. So let's get back to the permission slip.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's outrageous that I just looked it online here, and I think the Texas Department of Safety actually has that as a law. It is. They passed it after the Democrats left.
They did it before.
No, let me see here. It says the permission slip. The Texas House recently implemented new rules requiring lawmakers to sign permission slips and be escorted by a state trooper if they leave the chamber when a quorum is not present. They recently implemented.
How could they do that if they never had a quorum?
Well, I don't know, but it says it was recently implemented. It says here on Google. That's what I'm looking at. And so, black people, you black Republicans, you better get your head out of your you-know-what, because you setting up your kids, your grandkids, and your great-grandkids for a really messed up life. Y'all have a good day.
All right. You too, man. I think that there are a lot of people mean it ain't me, or you want to be exceptional. I do believe that there are people who truly do embrace tenets of republicanism, not MAGA, but the tenets of republicanism, which is small government, except defense. And it used to be that the Republican Party was the Libertarian Party. And what libertarianism says is you have the right to do whatever you want to do, and government and other entities shouldn't be involved in your life. And then when they formed the unholy alliance with the moral majority and other religious, right-leaning religious groups, issues in terms of one's personal behavior became part of their plan, right? So they had an issue with abortion. They certainly had opposition to homosexuality. These things in the past, Republicans could care less about, right? And then it became part of that. And so now you have this. But at the same time, many of these white evangelicals, if you look at where they are, the economic demographic, a lot of them are not rich. And some of these things that, they think when they think is affecting somebody else is affecting them. This is why Congress people who are Republican stop having town hall meetings, because they just found out how unpopular that big, beautiful bill is to the folks. And that's why they passed it as quickly as they could. They didn't want it to see the light of day, because also now the details are coming out and people are going like, oh, and guess who is going to affect? It was like the people that they rallied against Obamacare when they formed the Tea Party that go against Obamacare. You know who the primary beneficiaries of Obamacare, of the Affordable Care Act? The very people who got whipped up to oppose it. We're talking about rural hospitals. We're talking about coverage for dental care. We're talking about the parity of mental health care with physical health care. All these things which would benefit, the fact that people who were at a certain income level where their company didn't offer health insurance and they were they weren't eligible financially for Title 19. You came up, we said, well, we can make it affordable. And then there was 10 things that had to be part of any health care plan. Trump and the Republicans were going like, oh man, we called the skinny plan. Well, the skinny plan didn't cover things like you get an ambulance service, and that ambulance service, an emergency situation, is covered. So people get emotional. We all get emotional. Sometimes we need to step back, get sober, and then try to reason or try to understand what it is that we're experiencing. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, bro. How you doing, man?
Hey, you breaking up, man. You got us on speaker?
Okay.
Hello?
What about that? Can you hear me?
No, call us back, man. We got a bad connection.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad we're discussing this, because I'm just wondering, am I the only one that's watching what's happening and using just a little brain power, not that much? These executive orders, I'm hoping that when the right people get an order, they put limitations on it. He should have never been able to go and destroy the education or do some of the things that have been established for decades that have been working. And he just comes in and changes, like changing history. I mean, anybody in their right mind can see what's wrong with this man. You don't come out of a mother's womb walking. You have to crawl first. And to just go and just destroy, like, what does he have to, how many generations do he have to get rid of to not have the knowledge that we already have about what's been established? But let's just go back to this now with, he's supposed to be the art of the deal, the great deal maker, the big businessman. Putin is running the show. Anybody with an ounce of intelligence, he's telling you what he wants. He's a dictator. He don't deal with anyone else. How you gonna go negotiate something and don't have the president of that country along with you? You don't want him there. And you notice something? After he met privately with Putin, what did he come back with? All of a sudden, our election system is wrong. The mail-in orders are wrong. Putin probably told him, change that if you want to be in power. We had better start thinking, and all Republicans aren't bad. They're scared. But when you don't have the balls to do the job that you've been appointed to, get out. You're destroying our country, and your legacy is not going to look well. And the people that voted for Trump that were black, thinking they were going to get something, how's that working for you? And how's it going to work for your children? Going after law firms that didn't want to work with him, going after people that don't agree with him, he's all over the map. If we love our country, and it's bigger than we are, we better get our act together. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
All right, appreciate it. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning. What happened to Congress tell the Supreme Court in check for giving Trump all the power to taking everything away from the the working people.
Is that it? Hello?
Yeah, I just wonder, nobody never said nothing about the Supreme Court. They always talk about Trump. The Supreme Court, they all gave Trump all the power.
Because Trump has appointed 3 members to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but he didn't appoint the Congress.
Yeah, but
they said it.
Yeah, but then Republicans control Congress. So
but
right now, all 3 branches of our government is controlled by Republicans and or conservative leaning or conservatives. They're not leaning. Certainly solid so-called conservatives. I don't even like the term conservative. They're reactionary. It's based in racism. It's based in class. It's based in a whole lot in terms of how people view the Constitution. I'm talking about those justices. And I always a guy I was friends with back in the 80s, Kevin Merida, wrote a book about Clarence Thomas. And unlike a whole lot of people, I'm trying to understand how he doesn't see the damage that policies are having on people that look like him. And sometimes it is purposefully directed at people that look like him. There are people out there, though, who there always been collaborators, right? You've always had people who go against the interest of the people that they look like. And that's a great example there where, he don't look. And we can get into nuances, but I find it amazing that the Constitution is a fixed document, which means they look at it, the originalists, that this is what the originalists intended when they wrote the Constitution. But certain things have changed since the originalists. One thing is the elimination of legal chattel slavery, other than people who are incarcerated. You got your windows open? Because we're getting, hello?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I was just even the news media, they don't even say nothing about the Supreme Court giving Trump all the power to do all the dirty work that he's doing.
And by the time you catch up, he's done enough damage. He's accumulated enough power where it will be, more difficult for us to undo all the damage that he's doing, the damage that he's doing to the economy. And everything. And didn't he run on he was going to fix the economy? He was going to end the war on the first day. The fact that no one asked him how is telling. Man, you're let me do this. Hey, Jay, just take a look. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Man, call back. We're getting that bad sound that we. It's rare that I will ever prepare a message based on something that I just saw in the news, but I am preparing a message based on Mr. Trump saying that the Smithsonian, and we're talking about, I think there are 11 museums there with the Smithsonian, that they're out of control only because they talk about slavery. So I get back, I want to talk about that a little bit, because that's really disturbing. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
960 AM and 106.5 FM with your host, Keith Parris.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice. I'll get the caller. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
What's up, my brother?
What's happening, man?
You got it. Yes, I am listening. and let me say this, my brother. You're in good company, because when Eric Bond first came here, I was like, who is this dude? Because I think Eric was from Washington, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, who is this dude? He don't know nothing about Milwaukee, trying to talk about Milwaukee. But he grew on me just like you grew on me. And so sometimes it's just getting used to somebody and their different points of view. So I love you, man. We might not always agree on stuff, just like me and Eric, and my wife don't always agree on everything. But that's just the way it is. But man, I love you.
You mentioned Eric, you mentioned me, you mentioned Brenda. What about Michelle?
You know I love Michelle, man.
Do you ever disagree with her?
Oh yeah, all the time, man. And well, I shouldn't say all the time. No. Let me take that back. The one thing that I really disagree with Michelle on is about Mandela Barnard. Okay. That was basically the only thing. And to me, sometimes you got to put your feelings aside on some things, because to me it was personal. She said it ain't, but I always felt it was personal. When your girl come on and tell you, Michelle, put that aside, mate.
Well, I think
we can't let Ron Johnson get in there, and that was the whole thing. It was just, even if he was a dud, he was still better than Ron Johnson.
Can I say this though, George? It when it came to Mandela, it wasn't just Michelle. There was a perception as it relates to Mandela that, one, he wasn't present, though I would be at events and he was present. I know I talked to other folks who had strong feelings about Mandela prior to him even running. And for whatever reasons, they had that. So it wasn't just Michelle. Michelle had, she had the microphone. But if you read, you could go into like on social media, there were people out there that certainly had issues with Mandela. And I think, and I'll say this, it takes an enormous amount of courage to kind of go against that current, because the current was so strong in terms of people saying this was an opportunity. So I always admire people. Christopher Hitchens is a hero to me. And I don't know if people know who Christopher Hitchens is. Christopher Hitchens was a avowed atheist, right? Christopher Hitchens wrote books about religion and about, why he doesn't believe in God. When he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, he was going to die. There were people asking him, do you believe in God now? And to his death, he said, I do not. I admired the strength of his conviction. Whether I agree with it or not, I admire people who will take a stand. There is, for some people, whatever that red or that line in the sand is, it might be different for you than it is for me. But I certainly admire people. And we can disagree without being disagreeable. And I
get all of that.
So I appreciate that.
I get all of that. But to me, and a lot of the other callers too, it was better than Ron Johnson. And I know she says sometimes you can't become what you don't like, but sometimes you got to get in that mud and you got to get down there and you got to start slinging them. How do you defeat a bully?
Yeah, but I'm also saying that regardless if it's me or if it's Michelle or if it's Will, we're all going to have.
I don't agree with anything Will be talking about, most of, especially when it comes to politics. Now, about some of that other stuff, okay, but when it comes to politics, I don't get how any black person can support the Republican Party. I don't get it.
Yeah, and I think if you I know people who are Republican. I don't agree, but on some of the positions, like I said, anything that's harmful to us as a people, you got to push. You got to push back on. But when it comes to policy, you know, and I can tell you sometimes, you know, we'll push on Republicans, and then you realize that a broken clock is right twice a day. And I could give you, and I'm not, you know, we talk about the crime bills. There were several crime bills, right? When we have half of the Democratic caucus in Congress who vote for that crime bill because they felt like, based on what was happening in their districts, we had to have a response. Both Michelle and I say how you talk about a problem, though, is important, because if we go on doing, you're giving people fodder to justify a more draconian approach to the issue. Right now in Washington, D.C., you know, Trump has put all these different federal law enforcement agencies on the streets. He's mobilized the National Guard. There's states like South Carolina that's sending the National Guard there. And you know what the issue is in terms of crime in D.C.? Juveniles. Why is it an issue? Because for whatever reasons, people came up with legislation. Maybe they're trying to prevent the, you know, that pipeline to prison where they're, you know, the D.C. laws, these kids can go in and commit a crime, and then they're back out on the streets. So the kids have gotten the message, oh, what you going to do to me? Ain't much you going to do to me. So the driver right now is young people, right? And legislation that in some ways are enabling them. Maureen Dowd did I always love Maureen Dowd. Maureen Dowd, New York Times Sunday, talked about that it was crazy. We know why Trump is putting the troops on the street. She said, but the reality in D.C. is they have an issue with carjacking. They have an issue with certain youth violence and youth crime. And so we need to do both. You know, how do we deal with that? Do we put more funding into programs that target young people? You know, I mean, that, but again, if we talk about it in such a way, and then if you're living in D.C., and D.C., look, like a lot of urban areas back in the 90s, they were the murder capital of America, right? I mean, Detroit. So how do we deal with it and have those conversations? So, man, appreciate
What was the driving force behind that, Keith? Was it drugs?
In the 90s, it was drugs. It was
Okay.
a drug trade. Yeah,
And
I mean, you know, I mean,
you
and that
gotta
was
go back and forth on that about that and what should have been done. I don't think nobody knew the answer, but as soon as we come up with a law in D.C. about these kids, and it's too hard for the kids, first thing people gonna be screaming,
Right.
we too hard on the kids.
Right.
So where do you find that balance?
And are we seeing some of that here, where we talk about the pursuit policy of MPD, and then a person, and this is not a young person thing because it's everybody seems, not everybody, every age group seems, well, we get to a certain age and not seeing it as much, but where people are trying to get away from the police, and then someone gets killed in a car accident, an innocent victim. And then what we'll start talking about, man, why they pursue them in the first place? But if you don't pursue them, then you're saying to that element, well, you can get away with it because we're not going to enforce it. So how do we balance it where we're making sure that public safety is dealt with, but at the same time, you know, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. When Al calls in, it is a question in some instances of parenting. And I think we can do that non-judgmentally, that there is. And then if it gets in, and for me, I go back with this for many years because I worked in public assistance. I worked for Planned Parenthood. You know what? We can choose now when we want to have a child. If people just having sex for the sake of having sex, not knowing in the back of their minds or accepting in the back of their minds, one of the byproducts of having unprotected sex in a certain age group is that you can create a child. And then if you create the child, you have a level of responsibility to raise that child and to care for that child. You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, and I hear dudes talking about, I'll take care of my kids. If your kids on public assistance, the government is taking care of your kids, right? And so The government has an attitude, whether we agree with it or not, that says the government shouldn't be paying for your kids. You should be paying for your kids.
Can I push back on that for a little bit? Because I want to get back to Mandela Barnes, if you don't mind.
I don't want to really, okay.
But how do you know that sometimes the women ain't just getting on there to get money, that if you get a dad an opportunity to? Because when me and Brenda first got together, and we've been together since our first day, that they were trying to force her to accept. And she's like, no, I'm not doing that. And they were trying to make her do it, but she had the right not to do it. I take care of all. So when you say take care of my kids, I've always been present in my kids' life, or always taking care of my kids emotionally, financially, any way you can, and raise another man's child.
Right.
Since he was 6 months old, that's my son. Okay. So I raised him since he was 6 months old. That's my son. I don't care what nobody say. He may not be my blood son,
but for every George, there's some brother out there who's not.
And I never could understand that, Keith. Like you said, how can you bring a child into the world and not care for that child? I don't understand that,
I understand it. I understand it because it's rooted in a certain level of selfishness. I'm going to call it what it is. You're more... when I hear, and again, I've been doing this now for 14 years, working child support, and I hear the stories, and I would hear, how I'm supposed to live. Well, here's how it works, man. Your first priority is making sure that your child is living. Yes. That's your first responsibility, and put yourself in a position then to do it. That child didn't ask to be born. All of us in that situation. And then it gets into, I got issues with the mama, and the mama got issues with the daddy. And who suffers? It's the children. And then when you see the behavior on the streets, people saying, where is it coming from? It's coming from a lot of different things, but you gotta, it's what I said to the good folks there at Greater Galilee Church on Sunday. We have to grow up, stand up, and step up. Because a lot of this is just our immaturity and in some instances, our unwillingness to accept responsibility for our behavior and for the things that we do. Some of it.
Can I get back to Mandela Barnes real quick? Because Keith, if he would have got in office, don't you think that he would have voted for the Voting Rights Act and the George Floyd bill?
Of course.
Okay. Did Ron Johnson vote on it?
I think he voted against it. Look, hey, George, you right on that in terms of it would have been different with Mandela Barnes. No question. I mean, but again, politics.
I got one more question to ask you, then I'm going to get off my brother, because you said your message that you're preparing for Sunday. Do you, and this is going to be kind of, because some people be like, but do you preach from the lectionary, or do you preach what you think the Holy Spirit brings to you?
There's a lot of preparation that goes into my messages, and because and I know I'm not avoiding it, I'm just trying to explain it. There are three things that I hope to accomplish whenever I'm doing a message. Number one, give information. Number two, let's talk about the instruction, the ethics, how our behavior, is connected to the information, the scriptures that's given. And then the third thing is then hopefully people will be inspired to go and apply what they've just learned. I say that now, if it's the Holy Spirit, I think it's enough. Because there are people who will, they'll see, because I do use a manuscript, and somehow I think people don't, not you, but others think that that's not the Holy Spirit. You getting up, just reading the scripture and popping off the top of your head, in my mind, ain't the Holy Spirit. I think that it is about that essential truth that we're getting to, and how that essential truth then can be applied to the life of the people who are listening.
So when things happen around you, and then your message, and you say, okay, it was the Spirit that brought that message to me.
No, it was it happened. It happened, not the Spirit. It happened. It's something that I saw, or something that I experienced, and now I'm looking to the scriptures for guidance, And then when I don't find the guidance in the scriptures, then I'm going to be dependent on, having a conversation with the Creator to because I'm just a messenger.
Exactly.
And so I want to, but I understand, and I love extemporaneous preaching. That was something.
You can't use big words with me, brother. I got a
spontaneous. You can just do it off the top of your head. Stand up. They used to tell us at American Baptist that if you went into the pastor study on Sunday and he gave you the text, "Mary had a little lamb," you figure out how to work that. So we can do that. That's the gift, right? That's presentation, but preparation has enormous impact, and presentation should be secondary to the preparation and what you're providing to people in terms of how do we become the best human beings we could possibly be.
Amen.
Thank you.
Gonna try to get
All right,
let's
take up an offering. I don't know, man. I know my godson is lawn day for him. He lives down in the MATC dorms, so he already said he's gonna walk over and get his.
Yeah, I think I might try. I'm gonna go down
so
there.
I'll get a chance to see what that line looks like. Cause
right.
When you get down there, man. Appreciate you, George.
All right, man. God bless y'all guys.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning. Hey, I just want to mention a couple things real quick. About our youth and stuff. I'm first about the. I had a daughter. Wasn't expected. I worked for the school system. I just went there to give me some braces, and all of a sudden she came, and I knew it right then. I'm like, I gotta hold on to this because she gonna want some braces. So I'm like, oh my God. But my daughter turned. Her mom was kind of icky. My daughter turned 17, and all of a sudden, and I took care of my daughter, medical, school shopping, field trips, everything, and I took care of her son. And turned around, I looked up when she turned 16, it was some money being taken out. And I went in the teacher lounge. I said, what do this mean? And they started laughing. They said, that's child support. And I was just so outdone. And when I got down there to the commissioner, and the commissioner, or whoever that person was, they said to her, do you have anything or whatever? Basically, she wanted back pay. And luckily, the commissioner, or whoever that person was sitting up there, said, no, I can look at him and tell he has been taken care of. And she was going out for me for back pay, even though I took care of her son from 2 up until whenever. And a lot of times I felt in that room, that person on the state side was pushing that button. But nevertheless, about our youth, I had a cousin, and matter of fact, I had 2 cousins. And one of them was he was a gunner. He used to rob people. And my one other little cousin used to look at him. And next thing you know, once the first one got killed, he bred this other one. And this other one he was worse than this one that got killed. And at 3:00 in the afternoon, they put a hit out on him. And he got killed right on North Avenue. 3:40 in the afternoon, he got gunned down. Because he took on that lifestyle. And now there's another guy that looked up to my cousin, and this little guy just got shot in the mouth. He got oh my God. He killed somebody, got shot in the mouth, and it's like here he comes. And just like we kind of did, we kind of like turned the blind eye to my 2 cousins and this little kid. And I just heard the family say just recently when I was walking past there that basically they're condoning this. We're going to always love him, blah, blah, Skippy. But our youth are so influenced by these guys that's, I think, that put that man that they like, that they see, that they admire. And
so don't you think that it's a situation where we need to have or put them in the presence of brothers? And look, there's not a perfect brother out there, but people who are on the positive tip. Last Friday, a guy I knew from back in the day when we lived on 5th Street, he was like everybody's older brother. this brother was so positive. We wanted to be like Clint, right? I mean, he
Mhm.
read, music, all those things. Now, if all you're seeing for a male, and we do pattern ourselves after other males, is
Mhm.
all you're seeing is a gangbanger, all you're seeing is somebody putting work in, then that becomes the ideal for you, because there's no counterbalancing saying, no, dude, this ain't, I understand this dude doing, he trying to survive, but you need to look at someone other than that. And so it's the examples that you see, and that falls back on us, because you
Mhm.
got brothers running around, I'm a man. Well, if you're a man, the first thing that manhood requires is responsibility.
Mhm.
Manhood requires that.
Mhm.
That's when you're a Jewish kid and you're bar mitzvah, and I'm talking about the males, young ladies are bat mitzvah, you're biologically an adult. That means you can have children. But it's also saying that now you have a responsibility to this group that you're in. And what are all those responsibilities that are tied to being a man? Now, understand our notion of masculinity and manhood is shifting. There's a lot of reasons for that. That is not necessarily bad, but I'm just saying that if to be able to see someone who Oprah told the story about her mother, and she said, my mother never called in sick. I never called in sick. You know why? Because I saw my mother get up and get at it every day. It makes a big difference when you see a man getting up, going to work, trying to do the right thing, or you got Rodney from Baby Boy over there on the couch, doing nothing. And unfortunately, we have a segment or to say, now, I'm not arguing that women cannot raise boys to be men. I'm not saying that look, it's been our reality for many of us for many, many, many years, because it's the parenting, it's what you feed into that child. But then if we see an example of this, when I hear people, I don't know how you are, brother, but man, when I was 18, 17, when I went to see the Mac, I wanted to be golden. And I wasn't the only one.
Yep, that's
I
true.
was that same dude. I mean, I'm 62 next week,
Right.
and I wanted to be, like dude them, dude them. But at the same time, I care because my mom raised me, and I didn't want to be like my dad, and I figured some things out, and I think that in a nutshell, what I give to my community, to the kids that I run across, they see me working two, three jobs, literally, and I'm scrapping, I'm cutting grass. I retired from NPS,
mm-hmm.
and a few of them had came up to me and they said it, and they tell me like, "Hey, you that man," you know what I'm saying? So
right.
They do pick up,
They see you, man. I didn't. I used to get real upset with my mom because she told me that I need to be an example for my brother and sister, right? And I didn't want that responsibility. Like, why should I have to do that? I didn't make them. That's how selfish and self-centered I was in terms of what it was. As I began to grow and I began to mature, and then I realized that, when I was at Metropolitan, the number of young men who would kind of look up to me, right? And so then I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to make some adjustments here, because whether I like it or not, they're looking at me. And I've kind of been in the situation that they find themselves in, where they didn't have the most positive relationship with their dad, or their dad might have been absent. And so all those things, and then trying to figure out, again, I told the good folks there at Greater Galilee, for a long time, it was hard for me to even call myself a man, because I didn't know what I had done to earn that descriptive, right? To kind of, and almost to say even earn that honor, where, I am. Now, that doesn't mean I'm perfect. That there's a big difference in that. And we always think, well, he ain't perfect. Well, show me somebody who is. I'll wait. We all are. We all are growing. We're all part of this journey. But part of our journey, there should be a kind of cognitive kind of recognition of, I'm a part of this, right? There's the Ubuntu, that Bishop Tutu talks about, where I'm connected to your humanity and you're connected to my humanity. You
Mhm.
know, I am because you are. And if I'm more mindful of somebody else's humanity and not just my own, I think that's what religion should be getting us to teach more out, to be more outward in our behavior than it is. Look, heaven gonna take care of itself. The question is, how do you live your life here? Right. But no, I appreciate you, man, and thank you. I won't comment on why that money came out the check. But
All right.
all right,
Guys,
man.
enjoy.
Appreciate
Keep
you,
up the
man.
good work.
Yep.
All right.
Peace. Yeah, I gotta go. I know, but when I first started, and I was the child support dude, Jermaine.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have to get security to get me in, and security to get me out. Man, they said, man, those dudes like, right at. I mean, like, dude, but and I want to, and I understand that people there have been, and so I'm not minimizing it. I know it exists. That the penalties sometimes that are applied by child support are tough. They're hard. I understand that. Now there's a rationale behind it. I understand the rationale behind it. Whether I agree with it or not, the law is the law. I used to say to people, it's the law. The law might not be fair, but it's the law. So once you get past that.
Yeah, but Keith, to be honest with you,
I know.
Not only is the punishment severe, but you go down there to try to talk to these people, get the ball rolling, and they talking to you in your kind of way. They treating you in your kind of way. So you already upset from what the judge did to you. So now you coming in there trying to get everything going, and now you got cats in there talking crazy. Like, man, I'm gonna knock your head off when I catch you. And that's what it. So are you already angry? Like, man, I don't have no.
Like, I didn't make the baby.
Right.
You get mad at me, man. I like little Chuck.
But I'm gonna tell you, man, the judges, man, because I got a cousin, man.
It's so prescriptive, and that's the other piece. When we come back, we'll talk
Yeah.
about the emotion on the other side.
Yeah.
You're listening to Community Voice. Phone lines open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. It's my 7th anniversary program. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
WORD 860 AM and 106.5 FM with your
Welcome
host,
back.
Keith
Question. So
Parris.
Jeezy, was there Young Jeezy? Or was it just Jeezy? Was he Young Jeezy at one point?
Yeah, Young Jeezy though he was.
Was it? Am I got it right? Okay, that's
Yeah,
okay.
Young Jeezy. Now he just Jeezy.
Just like Lil Bow Wow is now just Bow Wow.
Yeah, he shouldn't even be Bow Wow. He should be grown or like Lil Baby. You got Lil Baby.
Lil Baby.
40 years old. You got
But
Lil Baby.
who was Lil Baby though? The ball player. Davis, right? Big Baby.
Big Baby.
Big
Yeah,
Baby.
he
Big Baby.
And he in jail right now.
Is he?
Yeah, he in jail. Yeah. All that money you was making and you couldn't buy you real estate.
All the money Antoine Walker made
Yeah,
that he
was
blew
crazy.
gambling.
He blew gambling.
But who's the other dude that just got caught up? Just started writing.
Beasley? You talking about Malik Beasley?
Was it Malik? No, there was somebody else that they were just. He was doing something with the casinos. Was that Beasley?
Yeah,
he was going
Beasley
in.
was
saying,
That's Gilbert Arenas.
Oh, Gilbert Arenas. No,
Yeah,
but he was doing it
with
at the
mob
crib
or
though.
something like that.
No, but he was doing it at the
He was
crib.
at
He was
his
having
crib.
games at the crib. But how you gonna try to jump on this man for having games at the crib, and it was a money pot, and they playing cards as a money pot.
It's who he was doing it. It was one of the mobs or something like that.
I don't care who it is. You can do whatever you want to in the middle, and in your house you can do what you want to.
well, how much money did Jordan lose on the golf course?
Man,
he was writing checks for $500,000. Isaiah Thomas.
No, they was trying to tie in Jordan's fathers.
Yeah,
with that whole thing.
Random, but yeah, I don't know how when you talk about these guys and how they get caught up, it's at a different level of fraud, right?
Yeah.
You know, this ain't 50 grand. This is like $100, $200, $400,000.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope that the bees, that Malik will be able to beat the case. But can we say this? Gambling can become an addiction. I think people need to understand that gambling, like other addictions, is real. I have seen people who have been in the throes of gambling addiction, and it is not pretty. I mean, they can potentially lose everything, and yet gambling is becoming more ubiquitous.
Yeah,
you're able to sports bet. You know, you got all FanDuel, all these different things out there. We got lotteries. So, but for some people, not all, but for some people, they can get so deep in the gambling. One of the issues that Elvis Presley had with Colonel Parker was a gambler, and he got into so much debt at the casinos, he then cut a deal for Elvis to play at those casinos to deal with his debt. And so it's one of those quietest kept things that we look at under, but there are people, and like I said, I know personally, I've seen people who've had the gambling addiction. It's not pretty. Caller, welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I have a suggestion for the next 7 years. I just would like to see like more, I use the term structure just in terms of transitioning between the interviews that you have or the programs that you have scheduled, and then when you are in the other free flow kind of, I think you call it the nothing part of it, the show. And so that, especially if people are busy or whatever, or have, want to make sure that they're locked in on those particular times, I would just like to see that a little bit more. And also to have DJ's perspective, if it could be at a particular time, I would appreciate that. And also, when you are doing some of the research for, let's say, some of the things like the music, and also that add a few more things that people of older age, some of the, let's say, scams and consumer protection things, technology things, and just a few more practical things for us to be looking out for, dealing with, or even open the lines, for people to share their experiences, even if times they have been scammed, so that we can look out for each other. So thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Steve.
George.
You might be talking about Marcus Morris.
Oh, one of the twins?
Yeah, they just let him out.
Marcus Morris.
Because he did some scamming, and he had to pay like $260 for $300,000 back because he was writing bad checks to the casinos. So I don't know if that's what you was talking about.
I was. Thank you, George.
All right.
I never liked those twins.
Now they could ball.
I never liked them.
They could ball.
I never liked those twins. Never. What is the Martin twins, right?
Yeah, Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
Now
like
one
those
of them
twins.
is out of the league right now, isn't he?
Yep. Oh, I also like the Lopez twins. I like the Lopez twins. But yeah, those Morris. I mean, it seemed like every time something jumped, especially because they played together, high school, college, and started off in the pros. They played together, right? But some jump off. You need one of those Morris be all up in there, so they be stuck on some dumb stuff. Yeah, I thought that's Marcus Morris. Like, wow. Big adjustments, man. You make all that money, you get used to making that money, and how do you manage that money? When Michael Jordan first got in the league, he was on an allowance. His management company put him on an allowance to, just because there is a ESPN a few years back did a documentary called Broke, and it was talking about athletes and how many athletes have lost money. And one of the first thing that, we just talk about black athletes. Nope. Every sport had athletes who had lost money or blew money, right? Tennis, hockey, golf, obviously football, baseball, basketball, soccer, where people go in and poor management, there could be a whole lot of things. Ohtani, his manager stole $8 million for him to deal with his gambling debt. Ohtani had no clue that any of this was going on. So, yeah, we got. Oh, okay. So anyway, so from where are we going from 2 to 6 today? Is that burgers? Burgers. They gave out the 100,000 vouchers that they had, but is burgers. Well, I guess we're happy, so we're not tripping that they've lost the last 2 games because,
Well, yeah, I mean, because they won right after they lost that game, then they went on a winning streak. Well, a 1-game winning streak, I should say. But still the Brewers still look good to me.
Yeah, we're okay. They're 8 up now. So
8 up. Yeah,
all right, caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Hey, what's going on, Keith?
Hey, what's happening?
If you say you can't eat off of $9 million for 3 years when you're an aging veteran swing man, small forward, would you consider that as blowing money?
No. Have you ever seen Broke?
Say one more time.
Have you seen the documentary Broke?
I haven't seen it.
Okay. You got a couple things going on where we would go like, oh, that's $9 million. First of all, you're not getting $9 million.
Right.
You're in a tax bracket where you're like 35%. So you got taxes.
So you're probably getting like, $6 million?
Right. Now you get it down to $6 million. You might have other encumbrances. No support. It could be debt. It could be your lifestyle, where, you grew up and now, look, there are people who their whole focus is to like dress you, put jewelry on you. And when you're in your 20s, early 20s, man, you ain't thinking about, I'm not ever going to play again. Yeah. 2, I don't know if you're never going to find another job where you're making $9 million a year. Right.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, and we see all that money and we go, damn, that's a whole lot of money. But
if you're in your 30s and you've choked out a coach like my fellow Parris, and you wind up getting no million after that, wouldn't you consider that going bad move?
Yeah.
What did he walk away from?
He walked away.
I love
14?
What was it? What was it, like 15 million or something?
I think it was a 3-year, $9 million extension or something. And he never played again after that.
Yeah.
And he had kind of rewritten his narrative as a player once he did what he did with the Knicks. Brilliant player. You can actually find some footage that actually shows you what I was talking about the other day. There's an all-star warning game where in the 1988 where you don't even notice him amongst a lot of those players from 88, which shows you how good basketball was in the late 80s to 2000 in Milwaukee.
Well, he
wound up being one of the better two guys in the group.
Do people make a business calculation? No, I was watching America's Team, and when Emmitt Smith had held out, Emmitt Smith got lucky because had that rookie panned out,
he would have been out of there.
He was, but the Cowboys lost first 2 games, and this rookie was awful.
Yeah.
Now let's say the rookie turns out to be like a Terrell Davis.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of going like, well, we don't really need you.
Yeah, we don't need you.
But that was fortunate for him, man, because there's a whole lot of people have held out, and the team going on, and the person playing behind you able to step up. But in that instance, so I'm saying that there's a lot. I think in his mind, he was making the right decision by walking. That was up when he was in Minnesota, walking away from that money. But hindsight is 20/20.
If you're the Bucks GM, would you replace Giannis' brother with Foye?
No.
You wouldn't?
As long as Giannis is here, Thanasis is going to be here.
No. Actually, he's not. He's playing over in Greece. The last roster spot was given to Coffee, but it was a practice.
Okay.
What's going on with Foye?
He's not on the team. They got they signed Coffee to the last spot, but it's a practice team deal, preseason team deal.
Was it like a 2-way or?
No, it ain't even a 2-way. Training camp deal. Yep, training camp deal.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Hey, let me thank everybody who's been part of the program. Debo, Byron, Jermaine, callers, we thank you. The good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.